Hey viewers, have you ever heard of the word circular economy? Well, if you haven't, you've come to the right video because in this video we're going to be exploring how businesses evolve around this concept. And since I'm not an expert and I'm still learning just like you guys, I've been Googling it up too, and I've selected all the main ideas and what I find interesting, and it's all included in this video. So if you would continue watching, it'll save you quite some time and you'll just get to learn all about this in just a few minutes. And also, I'm going to explain and translate some of the words in Thai too, because it'll just give you a better definition of the word. And so, without further ado, let's just get into the video. Our first topic is, what is the circular economy? Now, I want to remind you guys, back in the around 18th century, when the Industrial Revolution is, we used to believe that we have unlimited resource. So from then until just about now, we had the idea of linear economy, which is take, make, waste, and dispose. And you'll see it in the picture right here. Take is to get all the resources that you need, which is the resources could be like oil, water, precious metal, something like that you use to make something. And then you make it, which is, for example, you use oil to turn it into polymer, and which polymer is then turned into plastic. That's like how you make. And then all the waste is left, and then you'll just dispose it somewhere. And some of them just goes to landfills, and some of them unfortunately gets released into the rivers. So that's the idea of linear economy. And so what circular economy is that you'll see it in this picture that we have the circular economy gap. This is where we see that we have to minimize the waste, and the waste can be turned into something more valuable. And what we try to do is we try to minimize the resources that we use, or that we try to use it as efficient as possible. And let's have a look at the definition down here. It says, a circular economy is based on the principles of designing out waste and pollution, keeping products and materials in use, and regenerating natural system. So humans started to realize that we have scarce resource. So what we have to do is we try to keep all the resources that we have in the value chain as much as possible. And don't worry if you still not quite understand what the circular economy gap is, because we're going to be looking at real case studies. But before we move on to that, let's have a look at how circular economy is related to the SDGs, which we're going to be looking at the 12th goal, which is responsible consumption and production. And so let's see what this goal is all about. It says, achieving economic growth and sustainable development requires that we urgently reduce our ecological footprint by changing the way we produce and consume goods and resources. Agriculture is the biggest user of water worldwide, and irrigation now claims close to 70% of all fresh water for human use. Now, what I've highlighted here is that the first one requires. My intention is that the first sentence seems to have a very interesting form. You could use this form in your writing. So, for example, like A requires B, something like that. And footprint means เหมือนแบบเป็นสิ่งที่มนุษย์ทำแล้วก็แบบเป็นสิ่งตกค้างที่เกิดจากการกระทำของมนุษย์หรือจะเป็นสัตว์อื่นๆก็ได้เนาะ and the next one is irrigation ก็คือจะเป็นทุกอย่างที่เกี่ยวกับระบบน้ำหรือแบบระบบชลประทานอะไรเงี้ยระบบการให้น้ำต่างๆ and moving on to the next paragraph, the efficient management of our shared natural resources and the way we dispose of toxic waste and pollutants are important targets to achieve this goal. Encouraging industries, businesses, and consumers to recycle and reduce waste is equally important, as is supporting developing countries to move towards more sustainable patterns of consumption by 2030. Dispose ก็คือแบบถ้าเกิดว่าเราจะเดาว่าศัพท์นี้แปลว่าอะไรใช่ไหมข้างหลังเนี่ยเราก็จะเห็นว่ามันกล่าวถึง toxic waste อยู่แล้วข้างหน้าก็เป็น the way we จุดๆเกี่ยวกับ toxic waste ก็แสดงว่าแบบมันน่าจะเกี่ยวกันหรือเปล่า dispose เนี่ยก็จะแปลว่าการทิ้งสิ่งปฏิกูลสิ่งสารอันตรายทั้งหลายแล้วก็ and pollutants ก็เป็นซึ่งถ้าเราจะเดาเนี่ยเราก็คงจะเดาว่ามันก็จะเกี่ยวกันกับคำว่า toxic waste อีกเช่นกัน pollutants ก็แปลว่ามลพิษlet's move on to the next paragraph. A large share of the world population is still consuming far too little to meet even their basic needs. Halving the per capita of global food waste at the retailer and consumer levels is also important for creating more efficient production and supply chains.This can help with food security and shift us towards a more resource-efficient economy. Supply chain ก็คือสิ่งที่แบบอยู่ในกระบวนการผลิตทุกอย่างเลยก็คือแบบสมมุติว่าถ้าเราจะผลิตข้าวเราก็จะต้องดูตั้งแต่นาข้าวเลยตั้งแต่แบบการหว่านเมล็ดเลยว่าเราไปเอาเมล็ดพันธุ์ข้าวจากไหนแล้วก็พอเกี่ยวข้าวเสร็จเนี่ยเราก็ต้องเอามาที่โรงสีมาสีแล้วก็แบบแพ็คเกจให้มันเป็นถุงแล้วก็เอาถุงเนี่ยไปส่งต่อให้ซูเปอร์มาร์เก็ตแล้วก็ซูเปอร์มาร์เก็ตก็แบบให้ส่งต่อให้ลูกค้าต่อก็คือกระบวนการทั้งหมดนี้เลยเนี่ยก็จะเรียกว่า supply chain. Now we're going to be looking at companies that adopt the circular economy idea.This will probably give you a better understanding of the whole concept of circular economy. So the first one is a company called Loop. This company is based in America, and what they do is they make reusable containers for brands like Haagen-Dazs,Pantene, and they also partner up with Walmart, which is a giant retail in America, which is kind of like Tesco Lotus in Thailand. And so this company is trying to reduce the waste that we all create, which is like throwing out our shampoo bottles, our detergent bottles,anything in the household. So yeah, what they do is let's have a look at their business model here. First, the customer just goes online and order the items that they want, and then Loop delivers them to the customer's home. And then when customers are finished using up all the products, they could just return it. Loop comes and pick up all the used up bottles, and then they automatically refill them and then resend them to the customer's home again. And so this way the bottles get used many times, and so we're able to reduce the waste, and it's more sustainable. And the next company is Rent the Runway. Now, fashion industries. Okay, let's have a read all of these so you could have a better understanding why Rent the Runway. The average woman throws away about 82 pounds of clothing per year. Renting things you'd only wear a few times is a more sustainable answer. Thus, more people sharing clothing means less clothing waste. And the next one says, more than 60% of fabric fibers are now synthetics. Synthetics ก็คือสารสังเคราะห์ derived from fossil fuels. So, fossil fuels ก็ซากดึกดำบรรพ์ใช่ไหมคือซากดึกดำบรรพ์เนี่ยก็เปลี่ยนไปเป็นน้ำมันแล้วเป็นโพลิเมอร์ต่างๆแล้วแบบโพลิเมอร์ก็คือกลายเป็นพวกใยสังเคราะห์พวกนี้ So if and when our clothing ends up in a landfill, it will not decay. Decay ก็คือย่อยสลายแบบ suffix ว่า d มันก็เหมือนแบบการทำให้เล็กลงอยู่แล้วใช่ไหมก็พอจะเดาศัพท์ได้ว่าเป็นย่อยสลาย The retail industry is the second largest polluter in the world. Oil is the first. About 85% of textile waste in the United States goes to the landfills, or it's incinerated. ก็คือไม่น่าเชื่อเลยเนาะว่าอุตสาหกรรมแฟชั่นเนี่ยอุตสาหกรรมค้าปลีกเนี่ยก็เป็นอุตสาหกรรมที่ก่อให้เกิดมลพิษมากที่สุดเป็นอันดับ2ของโลกเลย So they see these opportunities and they see a better way of improving it, which is to get people to rent their clothes because they know that people just use their clothes, like wear them a few times, and because they get bored they just dump it away, and Rent the Runway allows people to just rent the clothes, and like all the clothes are actually like brands, for example like I can't remember, but like they're all like pretty well-known brands. Yeah. And the next company is actually a Thai company, which is called Marloop, and this stems from quite the same idea of Rent the Runway. They see that like in the fashion industries, people now like tend towards the fast fashion, which they just create like a whole bunch of clothes and you know in a very massive amount, and what happens is that in order to like make clothes, they have to order 1% more of the fabric, and so we get leftover fabrics, and what this company does is that it acts itself as a middleman, as gathering all the leftover fabrics, which is like in good quality, and they gather them, and on their platform small businesses are able to buy these fabrics because like small companies don't really need a large amount of fabric to create clothes, right? So they could just buy the leftover ones and make the most of the leftover fabrics. And let's have a look at their definition here. It says, we curate the surplus fabric from quality garment factories and create a market to allow SMEs to access quality fabrics at reasonable price. Our vision is to make circular economy a reality. How cool is that, right? Now moving on to what can we do? So what can we do to be a part of this circular economy and idea and to support businesses? The first ones, I mean, these are just like my examples. First one is everybody might have like been repeated so many times is the 4 R's, which I won't be going into that anymore because you'll probably get bored. The next one is upcycling. Upcycling is the act of like adding value to the waste. So instead of just recycling it, we're just going to add value to it. Which an example company might be the PTT Global Chemical in Thailand, which they turn like plastic bottles into shirts and bags, and so like we are able to reduce all the plastic bottles that's like in the oceans already. And the next one is to segregate our waste. This is very important, guys. Like, this small act is very impactful, and I really want you guys to do it. So why is waste segregation even important? Okay, like we've been told that to separate our waste. Segregate ก็คือเหมือน separate เลยก็คือแบบการแยกสิ่งต่างๆ and where was I? So why is waste segregation important? We know that like plastic bottles, it's not like plastic is bad and we shouldn't use plastic at all, because like actually plastic is like meant to improves our lives actually, and it actually takes a little amount of energy to make that, instead of like making or molding steel. Plastic is like way easier to make, but the thing is that why don't these plastic gets recycled? Like if we know that plastic can be recycled, then like why isn't it recycled? So the thing is that if you don't separate your waste, the plastic gets contaminated and they would just go to the landfills. Landfills ก็คือที่ถมขยะ and that would just be like bad, right? Because like it won't get recycled. So the thing is that let's read the concept. Contamination reduces the quality of recycled paper and plastic products. To prevent this, waste management firms need to spend longer sorting improperly segregated waste, raising manpower costs. Contaminated recycled products also sell for less, a loss that gets passed on to the customer. In fact, if recycling is too heavily contaminated, it is often sent to landfills instead of recycled. The next one is hazardous waste. It is also important to segregate for public health. In particular, hazardous waste can cause long-term health problems, so it is very important that they are disposed of correctly and safely and not mixed in with the normal waste coming out of your home or office. And so imagine throwing batteries, spray cans, old electronic devices in with other waste. I mean, they're gonna go to the landfills, and then the sun would probably create some chemical reaction, and then the toxic is going to come out of these things, and then the air will be toxic, and then people living around it will breathe it in, and then it will probably affect their health. So it's probably bad, right? And this is like the importance of separating hazardous waste. And another thing is that according to the Department of Pollution Control, in Thailand, we have 4 main colors for garbage bins, and the red ones are for hazardous waste, and the green ones are for food. And just please be reminded that you don't put water in this bin. So like sugary drinks, you throw it somewhere else. And actually, the water pots can actually be thrown in the water pipes, and that won't violate the law. It is allowed to do that in Thailand, and so they might use this leftover foods for natural fertilizers for plants, and some is for animal feeds. And for the yellow bins, you throw in recyclable things like paper, plastic bottles, glass bottles, cans, and just make sure that they're clean. They don't have to be that clean, but if they're really not clean, you throw it in the blue bin, which it's just something that can't be recycled, or you can't really do anything with it other than just put it in the landfills. So ถุงร้อน we throw in these things in the blue bin too. And that's about it for today, guys. I hope you've at least learned something new today, and maybe find it useful or inspired you guys to, if you're going to start a business in the future, this concept might give you some inspirations. And lastly, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and also you could book live classes on our website. And feel free to comment any contents or topics that you may be interested in down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!